Clint, what is that? Is that a mini laptop of some kind? Or?
You're talking about this?
Yeah, huge phone.
Yeah, it is huge. It's amazing how technology is adding to the English dictionary today. This is a phone and a tablet, so they've called it a phablet, right? So I bought it recently, and I'm exploring it.
What did you have before this?
Before this, I had the BlackBerry.
Which one?
I had the Curve. Okay. Relatively simple. So what's your story?
I've been a Nokia person for a while. Then I switched to Samsung Galaxy because I'm still a student, right? So I'm on a budget around 10,000, 12,000. Yeah. So I stuck to Nokia's for a while, and then I shifted to Samsung just to experiment. I got a Samsung Core B Pro, which was all right. And then I moved back to. I actually got stolen, so I wanted to come back to Nokia because I thought Nokia was much easier to use. So I bought this one, E6.
Okay.
And not a lot of people know about it. It's actually touch and type. I don't mind it. It's just that I wouldn't recommend it to people just because touch and type both gets a little complicated. Not a lot of phones have touch and type. So, for example, if I go back to me, let me just demonstrate how this gets complicated. So let me just, for example, let's say me and my girlfriend walk in and we want another person passerby to take a picture. So I'm going to hand over the phone to you and ask you to take a picture of me. So do it right now. Just take a picture of me right now.
I just need to click this, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So, cheese. 1, 2, and 3. Alright.
For example, in your case, you sort of asked me if I had to press this. Now, a lot of people, what they do is they hold the phone from the screen.
Right.
So once you hold the phone from the screen, the entire settings get messed up.
Oh.
So,
okay.
Although my demonstration failed, but normally in what cases...
I understood what you're saying.
Yeah, what happens is that people actually touch the screen right away, and then I have to set it back to them, I have to explain to them, and people don't have that much time anyway. That bit gets a little complicated. Like someone wanted to borrow my phone, for example, someone wanted to use it to make calls. I have to do everything for them. I'm sure the reason why Nokia E6 did not sell is because it's a little complicated to use. The E5 is a little more known, I think.
Selling a lot. Now let's assume that you move to another phone. What would motivate you to buy a phone?
See, this is another good thing about this phone. It's got an 8 MP camera, right?
Okay.
So I was looking at a phone. I obviously I'm not going to carry my camera around, so I thought this could be sort of a good substitute or 2-in-1 kind of option. So it's got a good camera. In that sense, so camera is one thing I'll be looking for. The other would be a little, I guess, speed. Third would be speed that actually includes OS as well, right?
Okay. Yes, indeed.
What else? Sturdiness for sure, which is why I bought Nokia. Right. I mean, apart from the screen size, does this justify the 40,000 or 50,000 spent on it?
It does, and honestly, I'm still getting to know the phone, so it's a journey. But I can tell you 2 or 3 things that really stand out with this phone that aren't there.
Yeah.
The first thing is you mentioned speed.
Yeah.
Okay. I have handled phones in the past where I have clicked a map and I'm literally waiting for 4 minutes.
Right.
And by the time either the person who's calling me and depending on that information signs out, or my car has already passed that location and I'm like really way behind.
Yeah.
So on this I'm touch and go.
Right.
And that's largely because of the Jelly Bean 4.1. It's the latest Android software platform for the phone. It's pitted very much on the same level as the iOS for Apple. So that's one key feature.
Yeah.
Okay, so this will ensure that whatever updates the company brings in, even for the next 2 years, are compatible with this. Okay, so you don't have to pay more, or you don't have to get another phone to update that technology. The second thing, okay, is we use in our consulting a lot of documents, a lot of videos, a lot of access on the internet. Sites like TED.com or YouTube, etc. And right now, I can just click and
I guess in that sense I understand where you're coming from, because the screen size is good enough to actually show it to people.
The experience is a lot. So if I'm just looking at a comparative, which any website will give you, Samsung S3 versus the Note 2 versus the iPhone 5, that's just the phone on paper. Okay, so yes, I'm sure you want to make an informed choice, but it's also about experiencing the phone. I also went through all the specs of the Note 2 before I bought it. But when I experienced it, there were small things that were wow. I'll give you an instance. Okay, as a person, I'm usually very disorganized. Okay, I'm in a rickshaw on the road, And usually I'll have to tell you, hey Animesh, can you SMS the number to me because I can't note it down right now, I'm traveling. So the note, okay, has a stylus. The moment I open the stylus, okay, what pops up is an S note.
Right.
And I can just write Animesh,
Yeah.
and I can just write your number.
Nice.
Okay, so I can take this down wherever.
Nice.
You know, so the moment I learned
Like
about
a
this,
post-it note you can.
yeah, it's a wow.
Nice. Yeah.
You know, it's like wow, this is so convenient. You know, another thing when I'm checking my emails or going through my SMSs,
Yeah.
you mentioned speed. What I will have to do is check an email, open it, and realize, oh my god, this is spam or this is something I could have, you know, checked.
Right.
It's a productivity tool. You know, I
Yeah.
could have checked this at 6 o'clock when I finished my productive work.
Yeah.
This has air view.
Mhm.
So all I need to do is get onto my messages,
Yeah.
and I just need to hover over the phone, and it gives you the preview of that message. So I can just swipe,
like a
go through
normal
10 messages,
Microsoft
and just go to whatever I think is important.
Right.
It saves time.
Yeah.
Okay, and this is a feature that it doesn't have. You know, so Animesh, I could talk about 10 more things that
I get
that
the
could
point,
impress
yeah.
you, but it's not about that. You know, like you said, you're on the threshold between campus to corporate.
Yeah.
You know, so I'd really like you to think and push yourself as to why do you really need a phone? Because you may not really need to take down somebody's number, or you might really not need to have air view.
Honestly speaking, like let's assume that I have the money and want to buy this phone. The thing with this phone is I would be scared what if I have you ever dropped this phone?
Not yet.
See, that's the thing. So if I would drop this phone, then that's going to be on my mind. Even if I have let's say a decent amount of money, I would still want the phone to be sturdy, which this might not be. And I wouldn't like to put a case on it.
I definitely wouldn't like to drop this phone right now to test whether it breaks.
Yeah.
But what I've definitely heard is that this is super AMOLED glass.
Yeah.
So it has very good resistance. And they've considered exactly that before they've made it. Yeah. So I'm not saying that this is the best phone.
How would you rate this phone? Scale of 1
For
to 10.
me, I would rate it as of now in my journey that it helps me professionally, and it helps me very much. I can express myself. Besides saving time, I can just express myself. Sometimes I just like to doodle, or I just like to draw. Right. It's like a release. Sometimes I've had a stressful day, and I just release on my phone, and then I can just with a click just drag it and send it on an email in a matter of 3 seconds, and I can have that person comment, and probably get a huge amount of responses on Facebook. And again, like I said before, to each his own.
Yeah.
And your phone is going to become an extension of your needs. So again, I'd say maybe this is not the phone for you based on your needs. But it comes back to the question: whenever you're buying a phone, what is it that you need? What is it that you're going to use it for? So let's work backwards from there. That's what I would say.
No, I mean, I would. I just wanted to get an idea from you in terms of a little more knowledge, because I'm not really too knowledgeable about the phones out there right now. Would you say that any phone in the market is better than this right now, like iPhone 5s or anything?
Okay, so I'm not going to answer this question directly, because a lot of people are talking about which is the best phone.
Yeah.
The best phone is not about specifications, right? The best phone is contextual.
Yeah.
Okay, so if I have a budget of 10,000
for
rupees.
the features you said, for your lifestyle and the features you mentioned.
Yeah, I would think that this is one of the best because it has the latest software.
Yeah.
Okay, it's got a 2 GB RAM, which no other Samsung phone has, and very other few phones have. Okay, it's got a memory expandable up to 64 GB, which of course is a common feature with a lot of other phones. But the 2 GB RAM is something that's new with this phone. So really fast, really on the go, really real time. It's come up with S-Voice. Okay, which is the equivalent of Siri that Apple has.
Yeah.
So I can actually speak to my phone and it will Google search based on my voice and turn up results for me. Which I would say it's okay. It's just something that's good to have. I really haven't used it, and I really don't use it. But things like S Note, AirView, the S Pen is something that's tremendously been useful for me. You told me when we were talking earlier that you coach people. Right, and you have a coaching practice that you're beginning, and it's a great idea if you can amalgamate what you're doing with social media.
Right.
Okay, so for you, to consider that point also. So speed,
Yeah.
battery, durability, you
Yeah.
mentioned it falling down, and this also. So you might want to think about the phone that helps you ease your business out.
What about a couple of things that you would, just in a matter of curiosity, a couple of things that you would hate about this or dislike about this?
I wouldn't say hate would be
Battery
a
life?
strong. Actually, the battery life is a USP of this phone.
Are you serious?
Yes, absolutely. You
That's the
can't.
reason I didn't buy an Android.
No, you can't. You can't. I don't think it would be wise for you to just, brand every Android phone as. It would depend from each brand.
Okay.
So this phone, when fully charged, has a 14-hour battery life in terms of using it. I can give you a small tip. The screen occupies a lot. So the more apps and the more stuff I dump on the screen, the more, I think from the latest that I check, around 30 to 35% of my battery is just the screen and the apps used itself. So if you can get that in place, just talk time, excellent. I think it did much better than any of my other phones. I feel, as a person, very insecure if my battery is dying.
Yeah.
And I've faced that with a lot of my phones. From green it turns to amber and then it turns to red. And I'm like, oh my god, I'm expecting this call and, I'm in a lift. I'm claustrophobic as a person. Now, this may seem very trivial to you, but for someone who has a phobia, you work with them, so you would know. It's very real, So I have this constant nightmare that I'm in a lift and my battery is about to die and I won't be able to contact anyone if I'm stuck. Like I said, I know it sounds weird, but it's a very live feeling for me. I hate being in a lift. I'm just a lot more comforted that my phone has a better battery life. If I, let's say, leave my stylus, the S Pen rather, at some place and I move away with the phone, so the phone throws up an alert, which is a pop-up, and it also accompanies if you put the setting, it also beeps and stuff like that. So just to summarize, I feel that, like I said, you don't have to go in for all of this, but there could be another phone. It may be an Android-based phone. It could be an iOS.
If I were to buy another phone,
it could be
recommend
a Symbian. Something that goes with those 4 things that you mentioned. Something that's sturdy. Something that gives you access to people that could be your prospective clients. Your email is live and on the flow. Battery life. Okay, and the last thing that you mentioned was basically fast and convenient. So there are a lot of phones, whether it's Nokia, whether it's Samsung, whether it's Apple, that fits this. What you'd have to, once you understand that these 3 phones fit your bill, then of course you need to check your budget, which is also something that you mentioned earlier. And I think you're good to go.